Standing to my left, he's been on my show before. He's a delightful gentleman. He has a career that goes back, and he also has some history from, well, we'll talk about that. You'll be delighted to hear about it. And I'm talking about Burr Middleton, and thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much.
You got quite a name.
Well, I'm glad to be here. It's the old Burr, the old Cherokee.
Yeah, there you go.
But we go back, my grandfather was a vaudeville star. The name of the act was Middleton and Spellmeyer. That was my grandfather and grandmother.
I heard of that, believe it or not, because I researched the old vaudeville.
Exactly, and my mother was a Goldwyn girl. She did the old pictures with Eddie Cantor, like Whoopee and that sort of thing. And he came out here, my granddad Charles Middleton came here in 1929, and he lived here for 20 years, and he made over 200 movies. He's best remembered for playing Ming the Merciless in the old Flash Gordon serial.
There you are.
You have 5 seconds, Gordon, and I'll annihilate you. And then when he was with Laurel and Hardy as the Commandant, they leave him a little note. They're in the Foreign Legion, and he finds the note on the desk that say, "We quit." Well, folks, you know, you don't quit the Foreign Legion.
No, you do not.
And Charlie, in his great theatrical style, picks the note up and says, "Never in my military experience have I been so insulted. Just wait till I get my hands on him."
It sounds dead like his grandfather. And we're talking about the 1939 classic Hal Roach with Laurel and Hardy and Flying Deuces.
That's exactly right.
And
That's exactly
you know,
right.
it's fantastic because he is such a distinguished actor. I mean, how many serials did he do?
Well,
Ming the Merciless.
They did 3 separate storylines, you know, like 13 chapters, 15 chapters.
They did that many?
Yeah, but 3 separate storylines. The first was Flash Gordon in 1936. Next was Flash Gordon's Trip to Mars in 1938. And then in 1940, Flash Gordon Conquers the Universe.
Wow, they did. He did that many.
Yeah. Right.
So, and they did a volume of between 12 and 15 of them.
Usually, yeah, exactly.
Now,
conduct the girl to me. Your eyes, your hair, your skin. I've never seen one like you before. Ah, you are beautiful.
You keep your slimy hands off her. And you grab him!
Fall in! Who's he talking to? Fall in! What do you mean, fall in? We're through. Didn't you get our note?
Yes, I got your note, and when you signed it, you signed your own death warrant. You're under arrest for desertion.
Now fall in!
the one thing that he's known for, but he's also a fine actor and did so many. You said he did over 200 films.
Over 200 movies.
And that's a 20-year span.
Right. Now, they weren't all large roles because he had the British actor's philosophy, and that is you're the star one week, the next week you do a walk-on.
Yeah.
The next week you may play the butler, and then the week after you're the star.
That is true.
Now,
That's true.
we can't do that in this country
No.
just because of the way it works.
But he
here.
was constantly acting.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like like Walter Brennan and John Carradine. They did like 400 movies.
Right.
It's just because they were constantly acting.
Yeah, Walter Brennan. Yeah, my daughter makes the best apple pie in town, by golly. Yeah.
Well, you know, he's done a voice for good impressions, but he has a famous voice because you did so much voiceover in the movie industry. What made you get into show business like your grandfather?
I had no choice because my mother said that this is what you're going to do.
Oh, really?
And I'm glad that I can do it because what if I'd been no good, you know?
Oh, well, that didn't happen with you.
It was like a baseball thing, you know, where there's a baseball father and mom sort of thing. Yes. Well, it was a show business mother.
It seems to happen more times than not, don't it?
It certainly does. It
family business, they call it.
Well, we're still alive and kicking. Among other things, I was the voice of Captain Marvel and Billy Batson in the old Shazam series and a million cartoons.
Fine series.
And right now, I've entered a new field. It is the interactive voice field as far as games for kids these days. Yep. You know, all those characters need voices, just like cartoons.
That's true. That's big business now.
It's a big, big business, and it's really rolling. The only unfortunate thing is that here in Hollywood there are 8,000 of us in the voiceover business alone. So the competition is terribly swift.
And also, we were talking to an actress earlier, and we were talking about that very same subject, and she mentioned that a lot of the big stars who's making the big money are also going to voiceover work.
That is our big gripe.
Yeah.
The voice community.
It doesn't seem fair, does it?
No, and believe me, they're not doing it for scale plus 10% either.
No,
I'll guarantee you.
And also, Burr, you also have a very familiar voice. When we were talking to you last time at the Garland, Burl and I go back to the old days of the Beverly Garland. He was telling me some interesting stories where he did voiceovers and over the movie coming attractions too.
That's right.
Yeah. Some of the dirty, hairy. And I was telling Bill May here, my cameraman.
Some of them, yeah.
Do you have, when I hear that voice, that's Middleton, I know.
Toshiro Mifune bringing to the screen the greatest role of his career. See him in Redbeard. You know, that's
Make it sound really good, right?
And then we used Billy Batson. Actually, all I did, I used Mickey Rooney's, don't tell him because he's in there.
Yeah.
I used Mickey Rooney's teenage voice when he was at MGM.
Gosh, you know, those were the halcyon days. It seems like it was yesterday when we did those pictures. But Billy Batson talked like that, too. Come on, it's time for me to turn into Captain Marvel. Shazam!
All right, this is Captain Marvel. It's time for the Marvel family to fly into action against the evil forces, including the infamous Dr. Savannah.
Captain Marvel, now that I have you in my clutches, I'm going to do mayhem on you and the entire Marvel family.
So that gives you an idea
That is
of some of the things that we do.
You know, you sound dead on to a young Mickey Rooney.
Well, thank
I've
you
never
very
seen
much.
anybody imitate Mickey Rooney before.
He's never seen me do it either. I may do it this afternoon, as a matter of fact.
He's never heard you say it? Do an impression of Mickey Rooney?
No.
No, you had him down to the Andy Hardy Mickey Rooney. That was down pat.
The teenage points, those were great stars in those days. On that lot, you had Lionel Barrymore. Remember Lionel?
I don't care what that girl says. Nobody comes in my town and gets away with what I'm doing right now. I'm throwing you out of my office.
Yeah.
But the trouble is, when you do these impressions, the younger people don't know who you're doing.
Oh, I do. I do because, you know, well, It's a Wonderful Life. When
Donna Reed and I, because we knew the house and the car and Jimmy, and whatever, but it's kind of hard to do today's new crop of stars. And folks, don't get me wrong, I'm not putting them down, but like here's my impression of Brad Pitt or Ben Affleck. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. There is no, Jimmy Stewart had John Wayne's walk. It was Jack Benny's, walk, sure. Bob Hope's walk.
Cut that out.
You have something to go by.
Right.
And all right, Roberts, who threw my palm tree overboard?
There you go.
Everybody does, Jimmy. And by the way, he never said, you dirty rat.
Yeah, he never did.
Never.
He never did. When he got his American Film Institute, I was watching it, videotaped it. He said, never said, you dirty rat. Never said that. And he was doing it at his age. It cracked me up.
Oh, yeah. I wish that I'd met him. My granddad worked with him in a movie called The Oklahoma Kid.
1939, Humphrey Bogart, Cagney, and Warner Brothers. And that was a good film.
And Cagney and Bogart, as a matter of fact.
Cagney and Bogart.
Both playing cowboys, which is rather strange.
That was a very rare Warner Brothers film, not only because of Cagney and Bogart. They only did 3.
Right.
But put him in the Western. That was a different kind of thing.
Jimmy had that huge hat, too.
And Bogart said that, too. I think Bogart said that.
Well, everybody got on him on that.
Yeah, he said, Bogart said, all you seen on driving into the Warner Brothers gate was that big cowboy. Cagney got him back, though, or something like that.
Yeah.
But, they were great.
Well, I wish you luck
well,
with the show.
Well, I thank you very much. You're very talented. Have you done a lot of theater? Because you have the voice that projects so well.
I don't do much anymore. In fact, I have my withdrawal card from Actors Equity. I don't pay dues anymore because I don't do stage that much anymore.
Yeah, but you have the voice that would just project, and you do so many different characters. And I talked to a friend of mine named D.W. Landingham. He does a lot of theater, and it seemed like the guys who can do the voices and project, they seem to be very popular in the field of theater.
Yes. Well, we still have a lot of equity waiver theaters here in town, but I've just kind of shied away. It's too much work.
Yeah. Well, you do have a fantastic voice for the voiceover work. That's for sure.
I appreciate it.
And you're a delightful gentleman. When we go to these things, the best pleasure I get, Mr. Middleton, is to meet people like you.
Thank you.
And when I see you, you always have a smile and always greet me. Very delightful, and I want to thank you. And I tell you what.
My pleasure.
Through Bill May. And we also have, along with Jeff Star Talk, he has a show called Discovery Park out of Modesto.
Oh, great.
And we need your information updated and I will promise you that you will get a copy of this show today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Middleton. God
My
bless you.
pleasure.
Okay, guys like that. I don't know if we have any guests better than that, but stay tuned.